Actors who could no longer do the robot, blue mutants with blisters, and demons who couldn't wait to shed their skin. Sometimes, the demands of crazy costumes have had long-lasting effects on performers. Michelle Pfeiffer took on the career-defining role of Catwoman in Tim Burton's 1992 movie, Batman Returns. Despite leading man Michael Keaton objecting to the casting of Pfeiffer, as the two shared a romantic past, no one else could embody Catwoman and wield her iconic whip quite like Pfeiffer. Behind the scenes, Pfeiffer wasn't always so smooth with the weapon and had a few accidents while training. As she told interviewer Dominic Wells, there was a beauty, an elegance, and a sexuality to it, which at any moment could turn violent. It's really lethal though. I injured myself a couple of times and accidentally drew blood on my teacher. Despite some painful moments, Pfeiffer doesn't hold any animosity toward the prop. She revealed on Instagram in 2019 that she still has the iconic whip in her possession, though it needs some TLC. The actor even showed off her whip swinging skills, which seemed just as strong as in 1992, injuries aside. Lots of work went into creating the ambiance of 1950s New York scene in The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel. From period cars to authentic-looking department stores, the production team captured it all, and part of that was making sure that the characters looked the part. For leading lady Rachel Brosnahan, as wife-turned-comedian Miriam Maisel, that meant that her dresses needed to showcase the era's popular silhouette, a tiny waist and flowing skirt. This was achieved by making Brosnahan wear a period-appropriate corset. Though flattering, this aspect of Brosnahan's wardrobe, mixed with creator Amy Sherman Palladino's wicked fast dialogue that first became a staple on Gilmore Girls, left her with lasting discomfort. She explained the unfortunate side effects on The Late Late Show with James Corden.
I actually got kind of a corset-related injury. Apparently, some of my ribs are sort of fused together a little bit, and I can't take super deep breaths anymore.
The conclusion of any fantasy film series isn't complete without an epic final battle, and 2012's The Twilight Saga Breaking Dawn Part 2 is no different. The Volturi are not pleased about a vampire and human producing offspring, and set out to kill anyone who stands in their way during a bloody fight on snowy grounds. While their on-screen characters are mostly concerned with staying alive, the Twilight actors had a different concern while shooting this scene, keeping their eyesight intact. Everyone portraying a vampire had to wear colored contact lenses, which were far from comfortable. Elizabeth Reaser, who plays Esme Cullen, told Vanity Fair, "Oh my god, they were beyond annoying. They are excruciating."
And can you see through them?
No. It's like we're Mr. and Mrs. Magoo.
The artificial snow used in the battle scene didn't help her already irritated eyes. Peter Facinelli, who portrayed Carlisle Cullen, revealed to Vanity Fair that sometimes the paper snow would make its way underneath the painful contacts. "I remember Elizabeth woke up one day and her eyes were swollen shut. I was like, I play a doctor, but I can't help you, Elizabeth." The 1985 fantasy film, Legend, is a cult classic, due in no small part to Tim Curry as the Lord of Darkness. From his fire-red skin and 3-foot-long horns to stilts that gave him an additional 18 inches of height, Curry was a sight to behold on set. His entire transformation took 5.5 hours for makeup artists to complete.
And we had terrible negotiations about what bits of me would still be visible.
Understandably, Curry couldn't wait to shed his devil skin once filming wrapped up for the day, but this was easier said than done. Spirit gum, a strong adhesive, was applied all over his body to keep the makeup and prosthetics secured. This meant that he was forced to soak in water for an hour to loosen the adhesive before he could fully take off the makeup without injuring himself. Eventually, Curry became so fed up with the lengthy process of shedding his darkness look that he stopped caring about the pain and impatiently ripped everything off, taking some of his skin with it. According to Monsters of Makeup, they had to shoot around Curry for the following week as he recovered. Jack Haley may be synonymous with the hollow-chested Tin Man in The Wizard of Oz, but originally, another actor was supposed to assist Dorothy Gale on her quest to the Emerald City. Buddy Ebsen of the Beverly Hillbillies fame was initially cast, but a major health scare forced filmmakers to look elsewhere. Ebsen's daughter Kiki later shared how real aluminum powder was dusted onto her father's face and hands several times a day, telling Fox News Digital he inhaled it over time. It coated the inside of his lungs like paint. He could not get oxygen to his blood, but he didn't know this was happening. He just knew that he was cramping up on set and during shooting. A little over a week into filming, Buddy was having so much trouble breathing that he was rushed to the hospital, where he remained on oxygen for 2 weeks. Kiki Ebsen continued, he actually couldn't get oxygen to the blood. He had taken as much as he could in his body, and it just broke down. Upon recovering 6 weeks later, Buddy learned that he'd been replaced. Though replacement actor Jack Haley's makeup was now a paste instead of a deadly powder, the aluminum makeup still wasn't entirely safe, with Haley getting an eye infection. There's never a dull moment in Hawkins, Indiana. After the conclusion of the first season of Stranger Things, the gang quickly acquires a brand new threat, the Mind Flayer, which controls demogorgons, Flayed-possessed humans, and other terrifying upside-down things. Billy Hargrove, played by Dacre Montgomery, isn't that enjoyable to be around on a normal day, let alone when he's controlled by an evil entity. But in the show's 3rd season, that's exactly what the protagonists have to face. In episode 4, Billy's mind and body are completely taken over by the Mind Flayer in a painful transformation. In order to make this Stranger Things scene as chilling as possible, Montgomery gave it his all, which resulted in some nasty injuries that, ironically, were concealed underneath his bruised prosthetics. He told Entertainment Weekly, "I have photos from the final day when I left set, and I got all of my prosthetics, my wig, my makeup, everything taken off, and my body is covered in bruises and cuts, head to toe, because I absolutely did everything that I could. I peeled all the skin off the top of my toes in real life, from dragging myself across the tile floor." In the 2011 movie X-Men First Class, Jennifer Lawrence takes on the role of the shape-shifting mutant Mystique with her head-to-toe blue scaly makeup. But despite it being visually appealing for the screen, the body paint ruined Lawrence's filming experience. Not only did it take 8 hours to apply each day, it also caused some serious skin issues. She told E! News, "I got a couple of things from the paint, like weird boils, rashes, and blisters." The situation became so dire that a doctor had to stop by the set and pop the protrusions for her. As a young actor, Lawrence didn't put up much of a fight about what materials were going on her body or the negative effects beyond the bursting boils. As she got older, her mindset changed. She told EW in 2015, ahead of the release of X-Men Apocalypse, "Now I'm almost 25 and I'm like, I can't even pronounce this and that's going in my nose? I'm breathing that?" When it came time to shoot the next X-Men film, the body paint was ditched in favor of a bodysuit, much to Lawrence's relief. She told E! News at the time, "It will be from neck down, so it will cut out time and the blisters." The new costume wasn't without its problems though.
So I'd be standing up out of a funnel.
Topher Grace may be mostly known for his nearly decade-long tenure playing Eric Foreman on That 70s Show, but he's since proven that he's capable of more than just comedies. 2007's Spider-Man 3 sees Grace take on the role of Eddie Brock, Peter Parker's enemy at the Daily Bugle, who transforms into the villainous Venom. Grace revealed in an interview with Superhero Hype that embodying Venom came with its share of challenges. Whether it was refraining from drinking liquids once in the suit, suffering a wedgie while hoisted in the air on wires, or spending 4 hours getting prosthetics put on, Grace's on-set experience was tedious, but survivable. However, there was one aspect of his Venom transformation that he had a difficult time coping with: the fangs. Asked if he kept the fake teeth once filming Wrapped, Grace was quick to say no. "I don't want to see those again. They were like really painful. The fangs were actually bruising my gums." It's good though. I guess it's kind of a method way to get into being mean. It's hard to imagine the Star Wars universe without the endearingly fretful C-3PO, played by Anthony Daniels. However, the actor inside the iconic golden costume doesn't look back on his Star Wars years with completely fond memories. Rather, his tenure working for George Lucas was chock full of mental turmoil, as well as physical. In his 2019 memoir, I Am C-3PO, Daniels gets candid about how despite the character being a beloved figure in pop culture, he had a rather unenjoyable time bringing the droid to life on set. Weighing in at 60 pounds, the costume was heavy and tight, and due to its limited mobility, shooting required Daniels to be on his feet for many hours at a time, unable to sit down. After playing C-3PO for a while, Daniels began to notice changes in his body, including a struggle to fully use his hands. He says in the memoir, "I couldn't easily turn my own front door key. His limbs were going numb, and doctors predicted that his hands and arms would be forever paralyzed if he continued on in this fashion." Eventually, the costume was altered to allow more movement, saving Daniels from an immobile future. Sometimes, special effects don't quite turn out as expected. This was the case on the set of David Lynch's 1984 sci-fi film, Dune, in which Duke Leto Atreides, played by Jürgen Prochnow, tries to protect his family and the planet Arrakis from invaders. After successfully completing most of his scenes, Prochnow had one final scene to shoot before he was finished with Dune. The scene is a nasty one that sees the Duke going in and out of consciousness on a stretcher as Baron Harkonnen roughly swipes a hand across his face. Moments later, Leto opens his mouth to emit a green gas-like poison from a hidden capsule, much to the shock of Harkonnen. This required a special effects setup that pumped real smoke into a prosthetic on Prochnow's cheek. During several practice runs, everything went according to plan, but when the camera started rolling, things went haywire. The prosthetic had filled with smoke from the numerous practice runs, causing it to tear and inflict first and second degree burns on the actor's face, causing Prochnow to jump from the stretcher, clearly in pain. Sometimes an urban legend about an on-set injury is just too good to be true. Harrison Ford has preferred to rely on stunt doubles as little as possible while filming the Indiana Jones franchise. Since the release of Raiders of the Lost Ark in 1981, Ford has been dragged by a truck, sprinted away from a massive boulder, and flown around a warehouse on wires, to name just a few of his daredevil stunts. With so much movement, Ford found it difficult to keep Indy's famous fedora in place. A behind-the-scenes clip shows that in order to rectify the situation on the set of Raiders of the Lost Ark, Ford took a staple gun and stapled the hat directly onto his forehead.
That should do it.
It's pretty clearly a joke, but that didn't stop multiple news outlets from treating it like an actual thing that happened. Despite the crew smiling in the background, Ford's lack of reaction, and the sound of an empty staple gun. In an interview with GQ, Ford leaned into the myth, stating that decades later, he still has scars.
You do what you need to do.